What if you've been measuring happiness all wrong? What if the life that you think is boring is actually the one that makes you the happiest? So I used to believe that I had to be doing something very impressive to be successful because that's what we're taught. If our lives aren't flashy and busy and fabulous, that we must be failing. But we rarely take the time to actually define our version of fabulous and what it actually looks and feels like. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today. So stick with me because this is a juicy one, my friends. So I've had several careers. I started as an actress and a dancer, and when I was in my 20s, I lived in New York City and had what others would think was a really big life. My calendar was always packed. I was traveling around the world, performing in film and television and theater, and it was all very fabulous. And then when I was diagnosed, I left that career and I became an author, which also brought me around the world speaking on some of the biggest stages, including Oprah. And these experiences have been incredible in a lot of different ways. But more than anything, they taught me a very valuable lesson about success. For me, it's simple. Success has nothing to do with what you do. Success is contentment. It's intentionally cultivating peace, which gives you the clarity and the freedom to create without limits. It's saying, my joy is not up for negotiation. So these days, I like to refer to myself as a professional homebody and, of course, chief unicorn. Cooking, writing, training my puppy how to give high fives, feathering my nest, preferably in slippers, is my happy place. And my friends often make fun of me, though some of them I think secretly admire my happy hermit ways because I think it inspires them to say no to stuff that they don't want to do. But I wouldn't trade my slow life for anything. The truth is we live in a hustle culture. So when we honor our unique tempo, we can seem very out of place, like a fish out of water, especially when entire industries are built on convincing us that who we are and what we have isn't enough. In fact, certain sectors of the economy depend on keeping us feeling inadequate. And so we do our best to keep up with a life and a pace that's often out of sync with our true nature, our true rhythm. And because of that, many of us are constantly depleting our most valuable asset, our energy. So if you're new to me, hi, I'm Chris. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, wellness coach, and therapeutic writing teacher. And I've also been living with stage 4 cancer for over 2 decades, and that experience has helped me figure out how to feel better, live bolder, and create a more meaningful life, which is exactly what I'm here to help you do. All right, now let's talk about the reality of our energy, also known as life force. You only get so much deep focus and creative bandwidth in a single day. And once you spend it, it's gone. Now, there was a time in my life when I wasted so much of that energy chasing validation instead of vitality. And this is so important. This is where acceptance comes in. I had to accept who I was and how I was uniquely wired, not as an excuse to stay small, but as a strategy to amplify my power. Acceptance wasn't about settling. It was about stopping the exhausting fight against my own nature. Now, I want to be really clear about this because it's a concept that's often misunderstood. So years ago, I was backstage getting ready for a talk, and another speaker asked me what my topic was. And I told them that I was talking about the power of acceptance. And I'll never forget, they looked at me and they were so confused. This person said, "Oh, so you teach people how to give up?" No. I wanted to say no, jackass, but I didn't. That was on the inside. But this is why this is important. Acceptance is the opposite of giving up. Giving up is walking away from life. Acceptance is dropping the resistance to what is so that you can redirect your power towards what you truly want. Acceptance is what unlocks the enchantment in everyday life, and that's what we're all going for, right? It's what turns ordinary moments into something that's truly meaningful. Now, once you accept your own rhythm, the world starts feeling enchanted. I mean, isn't that such a great word? It's just filled with possibilities. I don't even have to know what it means to know that I want more of it. I mean, cue the unicorns, bring them in. Enchantment is simply the act of noticing the magic that's already here, in your kitchen, in your garden, in your simple routines that make you happy. So most of the time, my days are pretty simple, but they're lived with purpose. I work hard, but I also might spend 20 minutes arranging my bookshelf, not because it needs it, but because arranging the things that I love is creative. It brings this beautiful vibe to my home. And most of the objects in my home aren't things that I bought on a whim. They're actually treasures that were passed down by family or pieces that I found while I was traveling. They're items that spoke to me in a certain way that says, take me home. Okay. And as a writer, I love when my home is filled with things that carry stories because life just feels richer when every corner has something to say. And when I cook, I try to cook slowly. I'll chop vegetables with intention. I will slip little pieces to my pup as I go, tweaking the seasoning while music plays in the background. You know, my grandmother was a chef, and I also keep a picture of her above my stove so that we can still cook together. So these tiny acts of intention didn't just make my life calmer, they sharpened my presence. And presence is what opens the door to the most enchanting ritual of all, mornings with my hummingbirds. So my best friend always wants me to throw myself a big birthday party. And I understand why, especially because I was only given 10 years to live. So of course, life is worth celebrating. And she's right. But there's one big problem. Big parties have never been my thing. So this year I celebrated with the hummingbirds.
I want to put a little umbrella out for them.
Yes, I have officially entered the birding chapter of my life, and I am quite proud of it. Now, on the morning of my birthday, I went outside for a meditation with them, and I sat completely still with this little tiny feeder in my hand for about 45 minutes without moving, until finally they started to trust me enough to eat from my hand. It was exhilarating. I could feel the wind from their wings as they were just hovering above the feeder. Those tiny, mighty birds teach me more about presence simply by being themselves, right? And somehow in their company, I feel more myself than at any party that I could ever throw. And that's really what this whole conversation is about. Defining success on your own terms in a way that actually supports your energy and your joy. So to help you begin shaping your version of success, here are 4 simple practices to bring enchantment into your daily life. I mean, if you know me, you know I can't help myself. I have to give you some tips. Number 1, step into the day. So enchantment starts with how you choose to enter your day, not by scrolling or reacting, but by remembering that you're allowed to arrive slowly. Before you even open a single screen, step outside, even for just a few minutes. Look up, feel the air, notice the quality of the light, the sound of the birds, the temperature on your skin. So that small dose of morning light actually recalibrates your whole system, your hormones, your energy, your sleep. But more than that, it reconnects you to yourself. It's one of the simplest, most powerful rituals that you can do for your nervous system. Number 2, deepen your relationship with place. So when we're stuck in our heads, we miss the world unfolding around us. And let's be honest, most of what happens in our heads isn't helpful. We spin scary stories, we predict worst case scenarios, we replay old conversations, and we tell ourselves things that aren't even true. But your surroundings can pull you out of all those stressful stories and back into what's actually real. And one of the simplest ways to reconnect with real life is to return to the place that's right in front of you. So you can choose a small patch of nature near your home, or maybe it's a particular tree or a trail that you love. It could even be a park bench. And the goal is just to visit it regularly, the way that you would visit and spend time with a friend. And notice what it teaches you each time you show up, how it looks, how it feels, how it quietly changes through the seasons. Let that place teach you what it means to be in relationship with where you live. Number 3, look for the messengers. So life gives us little signals, and some of the clearest ones show up in nature. A butterfly landing when you're in deep thought, right? These aren't accidents, they're messengers. The animals that cross your path again and again are often carrying a nudge for you. So you might want to pay attention to who shows up. Maybe you want to look up their symbolism or even reflect on why they showed up now. Number 4, follow the full body yes. So before saying yes to anything, an opportunity, a plan, a project, I want to invite you to just pause and check in with your body. Because your body is always in conversation with your life, and it often tells the truth long before your mind can rationalize it. A full body yes feels like ease. It's expansive. When something is meant for you, your whole system just softens. And when it's not, you might hesitate or feel off. And because your intuition speaks through sensation, if it's not a full body yes, let it go. Okay? So if this was helpful, I made a free 5-minute coaching session called Unstuck and Unstoppable. It's going to help you get really clear on what your version of success looks like and how to achieve it. Check it out in the description below. And I want you to remember this: your joy is your most meaningful accomplishment. It's your ultimate form of enchantment.